Hello, and welcome to stream. How is everybody doing? I hope that you're doing well. It is Wednesday, and I had jury duty today, and I didn't get picked again, like I always never get picked. So it was mostly just me sitting in a chair for a maximum of an hour, and then being told that I could leave, which was interesting. I sat in traffic longer than I sat in the jury duty area, so that's fun. Anyway, today is Wednesday, and as you know, Wednesday is the day that I choose to showcase to you a wide variety of random shit that I want to check out. But before we get to that, we're going to be checking out Scarlet Wolf, which is a visual novel that I have been given the opportunity to get a sneak peek at from Keymailer. This is a horror visual novel. I don't know what varieties of horror are featured in it, so we are just going to have to find out together. So, without further ado, let's get to that. All right. Okay. Alright, let's start by looking at the settings. Everything looks fine. The text speed I might turn up just a little bit. Looks fine. Alright. Let's get into it. You drew a very beautiful wolf, but why is he red? He just killed an evil monster. It's getting hard to breathe. These damn dirt brown walls all look the same. Their very presence presses down on me like huge stone vises, even though they're close enough to touch. With their endless twists and turns, this corridor reminds me more and more of a serpent crawling towards the remnants of my sanity, ready to sink its fangs in and finish poisoning it. Oh no, not this again. What happened? The walls have started moving. It's shifting. Not again. I was almost... Why? I've been here too long and nearly reached my goal. If I had just a little more time, I'd definitely find her, but it won't allow it. Whom are you talking about? My head. It hurts. It hurts so much. I stopped the recording and slid the phone into my pocket. This is a very unusual case, Alex. The doctor was jotting something down intently in her notebook. At one point, she paused and looked up at me. You said it changed. The labyrinth? Yes. How often does that happen? I clenched my hands into fists. It shifts the very moment I'm within arm's reach of the answer. Especially that time. I'd never been so close to the solution. It felt like there it was, just one final step left. But that's when my head hurt so badly that I woke up. I see. So this dream can affect your physical state in reality. Well, not exactly. It's more my own influence. The dream resists me while I try to stay in it, hence the headache. I'm starting to get the impression that you tried to figure out your problem before coming to me. I've never met such an inquisitive patient. I'm quite resourceful and prefer to tackle questions that interest me on my own, Doctor. I don't like asking for help, but this time I can't do without it. All of us eventually face difficulties we can't overcome alone. Even strong people sometimes need support, Alex, and there's nothing shameful about that. Thank you. However, I have to ask how this recording from another doctor's session ended up on your phone. I smirked slightly, though I tried to keep my emotions in check until the last moment. I hope Amanda didn't get the wrong idea. As I said, I'm rather resourceful. Amanda smiled. Alright, that information isn't relevant to your therapy. What matters is that I believed you, and you didn't have to pay for extra time, right? Exactly, Doctor. And since we're on the subject, isn't it time to get down to business? Amanda shook her head. You're too impatient. The recording is good, but before we start, we need to discuss everything thoroughly. I just need to get into that dream on my own terms. That's all. Leave the rest to me. Amanda tapped her pen thoughtfully against the notebook. I understand that, but why did you need my help? You don't mean to say that you came because... I decided to lay everything out. There's no point dodging a direct answer or denying the obvious. That certainly won't help me gain Amanda's cooperation. I believe that only with your anchor method will I be able to stay in the dream long enough to figure everything out, and... She cut me off. Alex Bishop, I'm sorry, but I cannot help you. The anchor method proved ineffective. I expected her to say something like that. Unfortunately for Amanda, I was determined to stand my ground until she agreed to help me. Please, ma'am, I know that's not true, and I know what happened to your daughter. My father works at a dream research institute, and I've heard about the case. You understand why I have to refuse you. Please, Doctor, hear me out. Alright, Alex, but I'm warning you right away. Using the anchor is out of the question. I know this isn't what you wanted to hear, but it's for the best. Primarily for you. The anchor method needs serious refinement, and for that I need more time and observation. Tell me more about it. Maybe we can find some solution? Yes, I'm not a psychologist, but I've studied the subject and attended my father's lectures. Amanda's face showed how torn she was on the inside. However, after a brief pause, she continued speaking. Usually, an anchor is something that triggers memories of an object or event. It can be a smell, a sound, or some object, and those memories can be either positive or negative. The latter, as you can imagine, affects one's mental state in less than ideal ways, yet even they can be useful. In any case, an anchor's effectiveness has limits. The deeper you dive into your mind, the weaker your connection to the outside world becomes. Given that, it's best to use a physical anchor, but even then, there's a risk of you losing your link to the real world, and... Tears shimmered on her lashes, but she brushed them away at once. I'm sorry, Alex. It's hard for me to talk about this. I understand, but this is a matter of life and death. I can't sleep properly, and even when I try to nap, I see that nightmare over and over. Whatever I do, however I try to banish the dream or numb my mind, the same thing happens every time. Again, that accursed labyrinth. Again, the voice calling for help. I've heard it so often, I feel I've experienced all that girl's suffering myself. Can I really just abandon her now? Amanda looked at me as if I'd said something foolish. You've come here ready to risk everything for a girl who doesn't even exist in real life? What's her name? I have no idea. I'm even less certain I'm willing to help you. Searching for this girl could take a lot of time, and if you drag it out, if you cross the point of no return, no anchor will help you. You'll remain a prisoner of your own mind, and no one will be able to help you, just like my Molly. Doctor, I haven't been able to sleep properly for a long time. You know yourself that sleep deprivation can do enormous harm, so I'm at risk either way. One day my body will give out, and I don't care whether that's today or sometime from now. Alright, I can put you under hypnosis. Perhaps in a few sessions we can save her. I shook my head. It's useless. There's something in my subconscious capable of influencing me, and won't let me reach the girl. That's exactly why I need the anchor, to get all the way to the end. No, Alex. Amanda's voice sounded even harsher than before. Convincing her won't be easy. I've studied your method carefully, Doctor. I've read everything I could online, and I have an idea of how to solve the sudden break problem. Dr. Silk remained silent. She was probably doubting my words. Dr. Silk. Amanda, don't you realize this coin has another side? Just think of the horizons that will open if we succeed. If my method works, there's a chance you can help your daughter. A spark of excitement lit up in Amanda's eyes, yet her voice remained serious. And if it doesn't, you'll lose your connection to reality like my Molly. You'll live only by your instincts, performing only your basic life support functions. That's if everything goes wrong, but we won't know for sure unless we try. Oh, you have no idea what you're signing up for. Back then, I was completely confident in my abilities and the method, just like you are now. So confident I decided to use it to rid my daughter of her fears. After a year living with a tyrant of a stepfather, she started having constant nightmares. I wanted to free her from them. But as so often happens, I only made things worse. I understand. Past mistakes haunt you. But this is a great chance to refine the anchor method so it can help not only your daughter, but others as well. Amanda fell into thought. Even so, you have to understand there are bureaucratic hurdles, permission from the Institute to use the method, a notarized waiver of liability in case. I placed on the table a waiver already signed by my parents, releasing all liability in the event of an adverse outcome. Amanda took it in her hands. First, she read the text, slowly and with utmost attention. Then she began examining the sheet itself. Doesn't look fake. There was bitterness in her voice. She clearly didn't want to help me risk my neck. But how did you manage to get your parents' consent at all? They simply understand it's the only way to help me. In reality, they understood nothing, and I didn't even suspect a thing. My father thought he was signing some permission slip for a school field trip. But I had to lie to put an end to all this. The next thing I placed on the table was a red folder with drawings sticking out of it. You really came prepared, I see. Exactly. We'll need this for your method. And this. The green notebook was placed on the table. Amanda opened the red folder stuffed with children's drawings. So this is our anchor? I nodded. The only thing I remember from childhood is my imaginary friend named Gingero. Everything else is a blur. Your medical file says you're adopted. Yes, that's right. So you remember nothing about your real parents? Nothing at all. Wow, you even colored this little fox. I thought it would help you get into character. Alright, we've sorted out the visual part on the anchor. What's Gingero's personality like? I smiled. Actually, it's pretty nasty. Amanda raised an eyebrow. I need details. Well, he hates it when anything goes against his wishes, so most of the time we played the games he liked best. He never gives in, stands his ground to the very end, and if you argue with him, he immediately takes offense. Gingero is often unhappy about something, usually for no reason, and he's sharp-tongued. He loves to tease and always says whatever's on his mind. He's quite a character, that Gingero. I nodded. Amanda put the folder aside after returning everything inside. Huh, that's written awkwardly. Anyway. Alright, let's see. And what's this? The doctor picked up the notebook and began flipping through it, carefully studying the gray-lined diagrams. Wow, you've got an entire map here. Guess I don't need to ask whether you can recall a small piece of your dream, right? I think I could recreate the whole thing. I've got a really good memory, and this helps a bit too. I showed a small vial of pills. Amanda looked slightly bewildered. What's that? Just ordinary nootropics, brain boosters. Some are so effective that they help you remember dreams. I swiped a couple of blister packs from my dad at work. You never cease to amaze me with your thoroughness. But Alex, there are more than 20 versions of the labyrinth here. How are we going to find the girl? Are you asking out of idle curiosity, or can't you wait to get started? It seemed Amanda herself didn't know the answer. She drifted into thought, and I couldn't read her expression. The waiting was killing me, so I decided to encourage her and steer her thoughts the right way. Everything will be fine, Amanda. Don't worry. I'm young and not about to part with my life just like that, which is why I came to you, a real pro. Am I buttering her up too openly? Maybe I shouldn't be so pushy. I hope that's really the case. I smiled. I wish I could believe you. Then believe me, or you'll miss your only chance to help your daughter. Besides, I doubt many of your patients would agree to this kind of risk. Alright, you've convinced me. I'd hope I'd never have to use this method again, but if we succeed, we will, Amanda. I took a plush fox out of my pocket. This is your friend Ginger, right? I recognized him from the drawing. Yes, that's him. This toy is the very thing that will strengthen the link between reality and the dream. That way, if I forget what Gingero looks like, I guess it's Gingero, the break with reality won't happen. Let's hope you're right, Alex. With a smile on my face, I leaned back in the chair and closed my eyes. I'm ready, Amanda. Amanda got up from the table and walked to the corner of the room. I heard drawers opening. She was clearly looking for something. Finally, Amanda returned and sat down across from me. Now I'm going to put you into a deep hypnosis. I need you to detach from everything around us. Stop feeling this soft couch. Stop hearing noises behind the door. Understood. This is very important. Otherwise, the hypnosis won't work. You must focus only on my voice and follow the commands. Alright. The doctor unclenched her hand, and a round metal spiral with a small door in the middle dropped in front of my nose. Moments later, it began to sway from side to side. Watch the spiral, Alex. And I obediently watched. At first, I thought hypnosis didn't work on me. I'd read online that some people are immune to it. But soon, I felt dizzy. And when the outlines of the room started to ripple and blur, even I felt nauseous. I felt helpless, as if I'd had too much to drink and was now riding the spins. At some point, I lost my connection to reality. It felt as though I was separated from my body. That was frightening. But then came a sense that everything was fine. Everything was as it should be. Dr. Silk seemed to sense my state. A new command followed. Close your eyes. I did, and to my surprise, the spinning room remained. At first, I thought nothing had worked, but Amanda's absence convinced me otherwise. Amanda had vanished, yet the chain whirling on invisible fingers still hung in the air. From somewhere far away, I heard Amanda's voice again. You do not feel your body. You do not hear your thoughts. You are no longer here. Suddenly, everything sank into darkness, and only a door remained before me. It grew larger. I had no doubt it was real. 1 second. I think my model's messed up. It's like leaning at a side. I don't know what it's doing. The knocking resumed, and it came from behind that very door. The knocking grew more insistent. Whoever it was, they were clearly not patient. Who's there? You know damn well who's in here, idiot. Open up. I grabbed the handle and opened the door. On the threshold, I saw Gingero. The little fox waved a paw in greeting and seemed to have been waiting for me all this time. He looked exactly like the plush toy I held in my hand. The same old and battered, neatly stitched up on all sides, a one-eared little fox with a torn bow tie. The anchor method assumes that my imaginary friend will become a guide to the dream world, so I knew this meeting would happen. Even so, I was so surprised to see the plush toy come to life that I was momentarily taken aback. Hi, Gingero. Do you remember me? Gingero stared at me. Of course I remember. You're that nasty boy who forgot about his best friend. Sorry, I just... Relax, I'm kidding. He smiled. Long time no see, man. We finally meet. Though I don't feel so good. It's like some nasty stuff is crawling around inside me. Gingero turned his back to me for a moment, then faced me again. Now he had buttons and a collar, a bow pinned to his ear, and on top of that, he had gotten rid of his stitches. Right. I created that image to better distinguish between the imaginary friend and the doctor. Hey, who did you just call nasty, you little brat? I'm a certified psychotherapist, doctor of medicine Amanda Silk. Whoa, whoa! How much junk have you piled on me? The fox hurriedly tore off the buttons one by one, then tossed the collar aside. What's the big idea, man? This wasn't our deal. Why'd you stick some psycho in me and let her dress me up so shamelessly? Psychotherapist. Not a psycho. A psychotherapist. Could be a ballerina or any other dancer. Either way, you don't treat friends like that. And what's this gloomy place anyway? This is my dream. Jinjiro looked at me in surprise and spread his arms, gesturing around. This awful stinky labyrinth, which is probably crawling with roaches to boot. This is your dream? Yeah. Jeez, you sure picked a place for meeting an old friend. Couldn't you have spruced the place up a bit? I don't know, made it cheerier or something. I'm not demanding it look like a cartoon or anything, but how about a sky instead of some gray moldy ceiling? I'd love to, but I've been dreaming of this labyrinth for months. Months? Jinjiro whistled. Then that explains why we've got that, what's her name, here with us. Dr. Amanda Silk, psychotherapist. Yeah, that's the one. The fox shrugged off his collar again and tore off all the buttons. I wouldn't last a single day here. Way too gloomy. No, just look at that. The fox pointed a paw at the wall, where there was an image that looked like a wolf. Does someone really think this place isn't depressing enough, so they paint horrors on the walls? This looks like a warning. I think it's a warning. Maybe we should be more careful. Who knows what dwells in these grim corridors? Well, definitely not a rainbow pony. Pity. I've always wanted to see one. The fox whistled, looking around. Man, you dragged me into quite a mess. We need to get out of here fast. I wouldn't want to linger here either, Chi. Jinjiro jumped indignantly. Hey, what did I ever do to you? Kill your favorite dog or steal $1 million? Why'd you just chop off my magnificent name like that? Again. I'd forgotten Jinjiro doesn't like it when I call him G. Every time I did, he'd stay mad for ages and wouldn't play his favorite games with me. And it happened pretty often. His name was a bit long for a 5-year-old, even if he'd made it up himself. Once I called him that on my birthday, so he sulked and hid. When he came back and found out I'd eaten the whole cake, he pouted even more. Sorry, Jinjiro. I won't do it again. Apology accepted, Al. Normally I'd run off after that, but I can't just leave you here alone, can I? As expected, the rascal retaliated, leaving only 2 letters of my own name. I smirked. Let's call it even. Fine. The fox looked around. So we need to find a way out and get you out of here, right? Not exactly. We need to find a girl. I often hear her calling my name. I think she needs my help. Got it. We'll look for the girl. She might have drawn that scary picture on the wall, don't you think? Maybe. I hadn't thought of that before. But here's what puzzles me. I can roam the dream world freely. How'd you get here? The doctor and I used a cutting-edge method called the anchor. I'm under hypnosis right now, and you're my anchor to the real world. So you didn't just stick that pushy girl in me and dress me up like a chick. You also called me an anchor. Guess you want a good thrashing. Jinjiro leapt onto me and tapped me with his soft paws. After a few blows, he announced with satisfaction, thrashing complete. Don't be mad, but to make the dream feel real, I have to be in it with my imaginary friend from real life. It's needed to heighten the perception of imagined reality against the backdrop of a fading real one. Jinjiro blinked. Oh, of course! It's so simple. Only a fool wouldn't get it. Or someone far from psychology, or a plush toy with stuffing for brains. He puffed up. Don't be angry. Better help the doctor and me find the girl. Amanda stepped into the conversation. Alex is right. You are his friend. Jinjiro tore off the buttons and collar and hurled them against the wall with all his might. I'll help, I'll help! Just please get rid of these trinkets! Soon, Alex's mind will learn to build the proper anchor image on its own, and you won't need to take my little things off every time. Fine, I'll bear with it. Let's look around then. Jinjiro pattered across the floor on his little legs, and I followed after him. The fox girl inspected the walls, cast cautious glances around corners, and finally declared, Looks like the labyrinth is a trap. I believe it symbolizes some problem you couldn't handle in real life. Ha! Remind me how many candies you paid her for that analysis. I bet I could have done that just as well. The fox swiveled his head, surveying the room. The fox hopped up to one of them and drummed on it with his soft paw. Looks like they symbolize something long. Maybe even a human life. He threw his paws up theatrically, then pressed an ear to the pipe. Hear that gurgling? Ah, right. A river. The river of life. And the pipes themselves symbolize its flow. Hey, brat, stop mocking my profession so blatantly. Who's mocking? I'm just trying to do what you do, Doctor. Jinjiro-chan said nothing. Alex, something's off. You said you hear a girl calling for help, but it's dead silent here. I noticed that too, but didn't give it much thought, because it had happened before. I said I hear the voice every time, but I should add it happens at different moments. Sometimes right at the start of the dream, and sometimes I wander the labyrinth for hours before I hear her. Maybe this is one of those times. And every time it happens, I feel like she's somewhere nearby. That is pretty weird, don't you think? Weird how? When the girl starts calling for help, it seems she's close, like she knows you're near. So why was she silent until then? Yeah, that is strange. The next thought sent a chill down my spine. Or maybe it's something else calling me with her voice. I feel I'm getting closer, but actually I move farther away each time I follow it. That's creepy. Jinjiro clapped his hands. After what you just said, I feel twice, no, 3 times as uneasy. I suggest we sing cheerful songs and clap our hands so it's not so scary. The fox shouted it so loudly that his words echoed through the labyrinth for a long time. Quiet. Listen. Jinjiro dutifully twitched his ears. Nothing. Dead silence. By the way, what was I supposed to hear besides the girl's voice? Not sure, but I sense something ominous. I keep feeling a presence, as if someone's watching my every step. What's that sound? Too muffled. I can't make it out. No surprise. A fox's hearing beats a human's any day. Yeah, technically I've got one ear, but I definitely hear running water and something else. Probably coming from those pipes. Jinjiro stepped up to a pipe and started listening. Weird. Sounds a lot like howling. It's just the pipes humming. Nothing unusual. Oh, look! There's some writing on the pipe. Damn, can't read it through the grime. Help me scrub it off. Pause, you know. Alright, sure. Fangs snapped shut just inches from my face. By some miracle, I sprang back, and as I tried to steady myself, I saw their owner, a crimson wolf with crazed eyes. Jinjiro screamed and tore deeper into the maze, and I ran after him. What the heck was that thing? No idea, but I think it's gaining on us. I glanced back and caught a glimpse of the red creature made of thick blood chasing us. Look, see over there? Though why am I asking? You're not that sharp-eyed. Skip the commentary. There's a grate. Looks like it's rusted through. Breaking it should be easy. I didn't notice it until I was right by the wall. Gathering all the speed I could, I leapt and kicked it. A screech rang out and the grate, held by rusty bolts, crashed down. Jinjiro jumped into the hole. After me! Hurry! I needed no urging and crawled in as fast as I could. Inside a long metal pipe, I hammered along the steel, scrambling after the fox. A terrible growl sounded behind me, but I ignored it and kept crawling. It's trying to squeeze in. Then scare it off with your psycho tricks! Aren't you here for that? You must be good for something. I don't know how to drive it away. Could you hurry? It's literally breathing down my neck. The wolf's teeth snapped at my feet several times, and I started moving as fast as I could in the cramped space. We crawled through the narrow, rusty labyrinth like cockroaches, desperately trying to shake our pursuer. After a few turns, Jinjiro stopped abruptly, and I felt his soft fur right on my face. Jinjiro squealed in surprise and jumped aside. Hey, what's your problem? Did the wolf bite you and give you rabies? Sorry. Jinjiro flattened his ears. Wait, do you hear that? Yeah, it's quiet. Looks like the wolf's gone. I exhaled, and my voice steadied. Come on, keep crawling. No, not that! Alex, don't you hear the voices? What are they saying? I listened and indeed heard a man and a woman arguing. Strange I hadn't noticed them before. Why? Why do you make the same mistake every time? Why do you do this? It's not going to end well. Look who's talking. You're no better than me, acting all saintly. So you're blaming me? Blaming me for being like this? I'm like this because I have no choice. But you do. You can stop doing stupid things. No, you know perfectly well I can't just stop. It's impossible. This can't go on any longer. I'm sick of hearing this. I'm trying for us. What do you want from me? And whose fault is it that I just want us to have a good relationship? Good. Good! Yeah, they're awful because of you. If you weren't like this, that's enough. I don't want to hear your pathetic excuses anymore. Well then. I think the woman hit the man. I hear fatigue in his voice. He's been through this conversation before. She must be pushing him too hard. The woman shouted so loudly that my ears are still ringing. He endured all her attacks, but she lost her temper. Looks like she hit him. I don't know whether he deserved it or not. Carefully shuffling along the cold steel of the vent, I moved on and passed the fox. Soon, a light flickered ahead. Looks like I found an exit. One precise kick and the grate crashed onto the stone floor. I crawled out of the vent and into a small room that could be summed up in 2 words. A concrete box. Cold, gray, and grim, lacking almost every comfort except the bare essentials. At first, I thought it was a prison cell until I noticed one detail. The box was locked from the inside. Who would condemn themselves to live in this dungeon? How serious must the reason have been to accept existence in such a horrible place? Look, Alex! Is that the girl you were talking about? Yes, that must be her. I wanted to rejoice that I'd finally found her, this mysterious stranger, but she looked so tired, so worn out. It was impossible to look at her without pity. Only now did I notice she was lying amid a scatter of different pills. Are they hers? What are they for? Looks like she's unconscious. Well, we found the star of the show. Time to leave before that bloody blob eats us all. We need to think about how to get her out of here. Where? To the real world? Do you even get what you're saying, kid? You're a guest in dreams. And she can leave. She can't. The fox is right. She can't leave this place. Then we have to figure something out. Find some way to help her. I gently place my hand on her neck. She's still breathing. Looks like she's asleep. Hate to sidetrack, but what are these pills? I picked up one of the vials and read the label. Snorrels. It's a sleeping pill. There's a lot here. A sedative, an anticonvulsant, a tranquilizer, and a drug I've never seen. Look, I think she moved her fingers. Sure enough, the girl moved her hand slightly and opened her eyes. Her gaze was hazy. She seemed not to understand what was happening. Only after a while did the stranger focus on me. Studying my face, she finally spoke. Who are you? My name's Alex. I heard you calling for help. So I came. I couldn't resist examining her more closely. Her blue eyes, golden curls, and slender hands felt painfully familiar, as if I'd seen her before. But where? When? I see. The girl tried to stand, but when it was clear she couldn't, I offered my hand. Will she be able to walk unaided and think clearly if she took some of those pills? That's it? That's your whole reaction? You look really familiar, but I can't place it. Come on, help out, Alex. Alex. That name rings a bell. I've definitely heard it more than once. I feel like I heard it just yesterday. I know why. Essentially, we're all parts of Alex's mind now, and what he can't recall, neither can we. The answers are in here somewhere. We just have to find them. Your advice is as helpful as ever, Doc. Right now, helping our new acquaintance matters most. Maybe thanks to her, we'll find a way out of this labyrinth. We'll hand her the west as we go. And is there even an exit? There has to be. Every labyrinth has one. I think I remembered something. Irene. That's my name. Of course. How could I forget that name? I'd heard it before. It had been deep in my mind, struggling to surface, but something kept it back. Suddenly, memories of the orphanage flooded in. The least pleasant phase of my life. The worst part is it happened in childhood, the happiest, most carefree time for anyone. Alas, mine was far from rosy, and I'd rather not remember it. The caregivers constantly shouted at me and the other kids. They punished us for the smallest misdeeds, made us work late into the night, and if someone refused, they left them without food. But the worst thing wasn't hunger or fatigue. Everyone feared Mr. Sadly, that big, scary, unpleasant man who would grab his leather belt at the slightest excuse and threaten us. Are you from my orphanage? Did Mr. Sadly abuse you? Irene? Okay, I think that might be a translation mistake. Irene shook her head. Or not? Huh. That's weird. Okay. I don't remember what happened, and I don't remember how I got here. I just remember it hurt a lot, or maybe I was sad. It's hard to tell now. If we don't get out of here and escape this labyrinth right now, we'll all end up sad and hurt. So let's hurry. He jumped onto me and ordered. Look, there's a little window over the door. Perfect. We can check the situation. Come on, Alex. Get me closer. Okay, okay. The fox paused and thought. Uh-huh. Got it. We need a plan B. So... Jinjiro grabbed me by the collar and shook me. Come up with plan B! Fast! I walked up to the door and looked through the window. In the distance, lit by a lamp, I could clearly see the silhouettes of two dogs. They probably wouldn't greet us by wagging their tails, so we needed another way out. I'm afraid I don't have any plan B. Great! Let's do that! Wait a sec, what'd you say? I have no plan. Looks like we're trapped. If you can't think of anything, I can't either. Guess we're doomed to sit here forever with this girl who can't remember a thing. Actually, you're not alone here. Oh, right, I totally forgot. So we're stuck with a girl who remembers nothing and a doctor who can't do anything. Alex, all the monsters in the labyrinth, even the labyrinth itself, are products of your imagination. In other words, they're your fears. Imagination can only be beaten by another imagination. Incredible, Doctor! I think I get what you're saying. It's like that magic flashlight, remember? You were afraid to take it into the basement because it lets you see monsters, but it couldn't protect you from them. So we made up that the flashlight was enchanted and it scared off all the nasties. What flashlight? Oh, I think that was before the orphanage, back with my old family. Oh, you're starting to remember bit by bit. That's good. But how do I get it? I don't even know where it is. I lost it in the nursery ages ago. You say it was in the nursery? You shouldn't go there. A monster lives there. What are you talking about? Even if I wanted to, I couldn't get there. Of course you can, Alex. You just need a door. You can't exit the labyrinth, but you can reach any room inside it. And since when did the nursery become part of the labyrinth? It was here from the start, and I lived in it. I'd sit huddled in a corner, waiting for the monster and trembling with fear. I always knew it was real, somewhere close, even if it never came. One day I looked under the bed and saw its eyes in the dark. I think the monster was smiling, clearly enjoying my fear. After a while, new rooms started appearing in the labyrinth, and I decided to check them out. That's when the monster showed itself. I don't know why, but it couldn't enter certain rooms. Then things got really weird. I heard the wolf speak in my voice, calling you. And then some dogs showed up. I never saw their master, but something tells me they have one. Fascinating, sure, but we've got a mission. Come on, Alex, imagine the nursery door. Grab that magic flashlight and we're done. Hey, I can still voice my own thoughts. Jinjiro and Dr. Amanda locked horns in another squabble while I focused on the wall, trying to envision a door to the nursery. For a while, nothing happened, but then faint outlines emerged on the wall. At first barely visible, and then merging into the clear shape of a door. Moments later, it filled with details. Not those of any ordinary door, but also ones I never expected. Smiley faces, stickers of superheroes and cars, rub-on tattoos. It was as if they'd all been waiting for me to appear so they could show themselves. At last, the door gained its final and most important detail, a doorknob. Mustering all my courage, I set my hand on the cold metal, turned the knob, and pushed the door. It swung open with a soft scrape, obediently letting us into the monster's lair. Beyond the threshold lay nothing but pitch-black darkness. I really didn't want to step into it, but after everything I'd been through, backing out would have been foolish. Wait for me, man! I won't let you face a monster one-on-one without a specialist. I'm coming too. Once on the other side, I found myself standing in absolute darkness. This must be the nursery from my past life. I wondered what it looked like. With that question, fragments of memory began surfacing from the depths of my mind. Something wooden creaked underfoot. I looked down. The darkness dissolved, revealing a plank floor, just like the one in my room. Walls sprang up as well, and leaning against them were at an angle were two huge paneled windows. Wallpaper bloomed on the walls, and the emptiness filled with the ticking of a round clock. The final touches were a small wardrobe, a bed, and a toy chest. Yet something else burst through with the image of the nursery. Voices. A boy and a girl were talking. Do you hear them? Of course! What, do you think I'm deaf? Listening to their conversation, I first caught the gist, and with it began to notice the silhouettes of the speakers approaching. In the middle of the room stood a small boy and an older girl. The girl looked like the one now standing beside me. Jinjiro noticed it too. He first glanced at Irene, and then at the girl gently stroking the boy's head. We all held our breath, afraid to scare them away. Hey, what's that you've got? A drawing, but I'm not finished yet, though I like it already. You drew a really cool wolf, but why is he so awesome? He just killed the evil monster. You mean the one that lives under the bed? The girl giggled. Yes, and now the wolf will always protect you. Protect me from what? There are many things in the world that can harm you, Alex. Some are physical, and some live in our heads. You're scaring me, Irene. Don't be afraid. Be strong. This wolf will keep the bad things away. I remembered that conversation. That morning I complained to my sister that I couldn't sleep. Felt like a monster lived under my bed. I thought the moment I closed my eyes it would eat me, so I couldn't sleep. Irene drew me a savior, a red wolf. Ever since, he was always with me. He killed the monster in the attic, gave me the courage to cross the orphanage's dark garden when I tried to escape. But after I was adopted, I no longer needed him. I was taken to a warm, cozy home. I got good parents, but with them came guilt. I'd always shared everything good with my sister, yet over time I forgot her. Forgot she even existed. And she waited for me in that gloomy room for who knows how long. My thoughts were cut short by a menacing growl from under my bed. Any moment, the wolf would pounce. The very wolf meant to protect me? He'd just taken the monster's place, and now I had to fight him. Wait, I came here for a weapon. Oh, wow. The wolf shot out from under the bed, a swift red blur, and lunged at Irene, but I shielded her with my arm. His teeth tore my sleeve, yet missed the skin. Astounding! Sir Kilgore's steel skin never fails him. Steel skin? I need my special armor for that move. Buddy, just be glad you're alive. The wolf released me and sprang back, ready to strike again. It felt like he paused so I could really see what years had turned him into. I tried to remember how he looked before, but I couldn't. Even so, I knew he'd been different. My mind had twisted him into something far more terrifying, a beast of congealed blood. 3 glowing yellow eyes bored into me from an asymmetrical, snarling face. From an open maw, scarlet streams dripped past razor fangs aching to rend flesh. I forced myself to think logically. Maybe he can't hurt me. His purpose is to protect me, and even twisted into a monster, he won't break his creator's will. Exactly. He can't harm you. I won't let him. You need your trusty sword, the Shard of Light. The flashlight? Yeah. We won't get far like this, pal. You need more faith, got it? Only by believing in the shard can you beat not just the wolf, but any monster. Come on, you got this. Right after you find that sword. Where did I put it? The wolf crouched and then sprang and clamped his jaws on my shoulder. Ah! What the? He's trying to kill me? This time the fangs bit flesh, blood blooming on my shirt. The wolf senses your doubt, Alex. You don't believe you can win. Even I feel it. If this keeps up, we're all finished. The wolf bit into my arm again. I gritted my teeth through the pain, then spun and slammed him into the wall. He let go and fell. A momentary win. 1 point for me, but I had no idea how to end this fight. Fear gone, Sir Kilgore's courage returned. Yet it wasn't enough. The foe was too swift and too lethal. A whole new level. Sir Kilgore had never faced such a fearsome opponent, nor been wounded so badly. This creature was no longer the red wolf meant to guard me. A haze of rage over yellow eyes blinded him to the boy who once needed him. His red coat, more like dried matted blood, bristled with fury. In trying to craft a nightmare, my mind had gone too far. What is he guarding from me? I managed to dodge another attack, but my strength was at its limit. For several minutes, I dashed around the room, dodging the enemy who flowed from spot to spot. I had mixed success. The wolf kept managing to nick me with his razor-sharp teeth. If this weren't a dream, the pain would be many times worse. I'd probably already be writhing in agony, bleeding out. As it was, the wounds burned and ached, but I could bear it. Jinjero covered his eyes with his paws. What are you doing? Planning to fall on this battlefield, Sir Kilgore? I parried another strike with my arm, feeling hot blood trickle down my wrist. No, this won't do. I had to remember where I put the shard fast. That day, I'd climbed Pillow Mountain to slay the Pillow Monster. Then, on the way to the Feast Fortress... Right, I put it in the chest. The chest with my weapons and treasures. And in the chest, it's in Fang Cave, under the bed. Dodging the wolf's jaws, I leapt to the far corner of the room, straight to the life-saving chest. The moment I lifted the lid, I heard a crunch. The hinges were so rusted, they simply snapped. No time for surprise or complaints, but I did get an improvised shield, which I smashed into the wolf's snout. Taking advantage of his confusion, I yanked the flashlight from the chest and switched it on. A blade of light burst from the flashlight, and I brought its full power down on the wolf. On the very first swing, I smashed his paw. The monster roared, and I struck again. This time I drove the glowing blade into his back. He howled and jumped away, while I advanced, sword raised for another strike. My only chance was to keep up the pressure and keep hitting. I slashed again at the bloody clots with the thin, shining blade. The monster whimpered. With the next wound, he'd reverted to his original form, the Crimson Wolf who once slew the evil monster. Yet doubt crept in. Was this a trick to lull me? Either way, there was no retreat. I looked at my once trusted guardian one last time before severing his head. At the very moment the blade of my imagined sword pierced the wolf's crimson flesh, I felt something snap inside me. As though with that blow, I cut off not only the wolf's head, but a piece of myself. I just killed the one who shielded me from a terrible secret. He had bolstered me so many times, giving me the courage while staying just out of sight. And now I'd slain my protector, taken his head, and with it my childhood memories. The wolf's body flopped to the floor in a red heap and oozed across the room. Pain in my limbs vanished. The wounds left no trace. In seconds, the body decomposed before my eyes, leaving only bones with ragged scraps of flesh. Staring at the sad sight, I noticed one detail. The ribs hid some object. Overcoming my last doubts, I broke them and pulled out a key. I'd seen it before. It's for the study. Let's say father's. Of course. Dad was into photography and said it was a tricky process. I was too small and might ruin everything. But Irene often went into Dad's study. She was both his assistant and his model. Once I asked Sis to show me a couple of shots, and she said something like, "Sorry, little guy, they're only from members of the secret photo club." The flood of memories made my head pound. Scenes, words, and sounds from the past flashed by in a blur. I wasn't ready for it. At that moment, Irene ran up to me. "Are you all right?" Her soft, gentle voice scattered the terrible din. Instead of answering, I hugged her, feeling the warm touch of her cheek. The last time we'd hugged, I barely reached her belly button. Now I remembered that, along with countless days spent together. All of it came back as soon as I felt her warmth. I had that part of my life again, the part I'd once lost, but something was still missing. Probably the very detail in this joyful picture that my mind had hidden so very carefully. But I decided I was ready to remember everything. Yeah, I'm fine. Come on, sis. We need to get out of here. She smiled and ruffled my hair like I was that little boy from the past. We left the nursery and found ourselves again in the room where I'd found Irene. She looked at me with a sad smile. You know, I was hoping you'd never remember me, or what happened. Of course, she meant the very secret the wolf had guarded. Don't say that. You can't forget your own sister, no matter the reason. The girl stamped her foot. Better to forget I ever existed than to remember all your life what happened. She talked to me like I was a kid, and it annoyed me, circling the issue. But I wasn't that little runt anymore. I was ready to face reality, whatever it was. Don't play with me. I know something bad happened to you. What was it? I couldn't save you? Tell me. The girl shook her head. I don't want you to know. That wolf should have never let you come this far. So from the start, you said you didn't from the start, you didn't want me to find you. Yes, I was afraid of it. I created this labyrinth to shield you from the past. I hoped you'd stop coming here. But for some reason, you kept returning again and again. Then why the act? Why agree to go with me? Why help? Sorry, 1 second. Irene sighed and laid a hand on my shoulder. You found me, so the secret will soon be revealed. The only thing I can do is support my beloved brother. I can't persuade you to freeze this moment, forget me again, and go back to your normal life. You can't. No matter how hard you try to shield him from danger, the guilt he feels will never let him sleep peacefully. Now that his real life is getting better, he feels the guilt even more. That's why his subconscious keeps coming here, trying to sort everything out. Sounds like second-rate sci-fi, Doc. Jinjiro-chan ignored the fox and looked at me. Alex, do you remember the last time you saw your sister? I remembered a lot. How we played, laughed, and had lunch together. But none of that felt like the last time the doctor is talking about. That memory had to differ from the others, not fit into our happy everyday life. Honestly, not really. And from the memories we saw in the nursery, it was clear Irene is your older sister. I nodded. What happened was a long time ago. Look at her carefully. Do you see what I mean? She looks younger than I do. I noticed that already, but I still hadn't understood where the doctor was going with it. Exactly. Irene is your older sister, yet she looks several years younger than you. That means she's a memory from your very early childhood. However strong the guardian image was, it couldn't wipe out every trace from that time. But it also couldn't replay the events completely, because you were a child and could only absorb information, not analyze it. Now with the ability to analyze, your subconscious decided you were ready to sort everything out. That's why you defeated the wolf, because you were finally ready to learn the truth. Alright, I'll admit they didn't hand you that diploma for nothing. But I still don't get who the wolf was, why he guarded the labyrinth, and why he was so strong. Wolf. Irene smiled. The same gentle smile she had when she first came to show him to me. You remember his name? Yes, I do. I guess I never really forgot. Our nursery appeared before my eyes again. Irene, why are you walking so funny? I'm not walking, I'm writing. The boy stared at his sister in surprise. What do you mean? Sis, you're silly. On Wolfie. If you get too smart, I won't give you a ride. I want to. I want a ride, but where is he? Wolfie? Right here. Can't you see him? The girl waved her hand through the air, then stroked the wolf, and he lifted his head and howled. He's so loud. Dad won't scold us, will he? I don't think so. It'll be fine. The boy climbed into Iron's arms, and they began riding the wolf club all around the nursery. Wolfie moved very quickly but carefully so as not to throw the children off. After several laps, the brother and sister decided to make the game even more interesting. The boy pulled blocks and other toys out of the chest, and the girl arranged them so that they became obstacles. Some were quite high, which made the boy doubt that Wolfie could jump over them, but he managed and landed softly on the floor to the delight of the cheering children. After playing to their heart's content, they let the wolf cub go home. Will he come again? Of course, he liked playing with you. I want a friend like that too. How can I find him? Does this Wolfie live very far away? Are there more wolves like him? No, not far at all. The girl poked the boy on the crown of his head with her finger. This is where all wolves, dragons, princesses, and kings live, Alex. The boy jumped up with joy. But that's my head! Really close. Iron nodded. Why don't you call your friend right now? Oh, yes, how do I do that? First imagine what he looks like. The boy squeezed his eyes shut and tried to picture his imaginary friend. He's as orange as an orange and as long as a banana with a black button on his nose. Iron smiled. A fox, maybe? With a bow and buttons? He's a boy, the bravest. No hunter has ever caught him, not even Dad. He's so smart he even knows how to handle those iron things Dad bought recently. He knows how a trap works? That's a bit strange, but okay. Yes, and he loves joking and mischief, just like Mom. Iron smiled. I see. And what will your friend be called? Alex, why are you standing there? Daydreaming again? Just a humble opinion of a fox without a diploma, but I think it's time we got out of here. Memories just flooded in. Good thing they didn't wash away all common sense. Look, no dogs. The path is clear. I looked in the direction the fox paw was pointing. My gaze slid along the dirty stone wall illuminated by a lamp. It looked ominous, like any other wall in this labyrinth. But right now that wall, with patches of dirt glistening under the lamps, was exactly the light at the end of the tunnel. I nodded. Let's go. Noticing something glit in the corner of my eye, I turned. A dusty beam of artificial light seeped through a grate behind which something lay. I came closer and peered into the gap between the rusty pieces of thin metal. Looks like the dogs were guarding this. Whoa. I lifted the grate and, gripping it firmly with my fingers, opened it. Behind it lay a dirty piece of paper. There was something written on it, but the spear and blood made it impossible to read. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't decipher it. Let's show that to Amanda. Looks like a psychiatrist's report. I can't quite make out what's written. We'd better hurry. I looked at the paper carefully again and remember how I once found Dad sitting in a chair surrounded by bottles. I approached him and felt I had stepped on something. Lowering my eyes, I saw this very piece of paper. I thought Dad must have dropped it, so I handed it to him with a smile. He took it without a word and, seating me on his lap, hugged me tightly. I tried with all my might to remember his face, but I couldn't. We entered a long, dark corridor. Even an arm's length away, everything was swallowed by gloom, and it seemed that this impenetrable darkness could even devour light itself. I found that out when I tried to scatter the darkness with a flashlight beam. That made it even scarier. Surely something bad could be hiding in there. What the heck? What's wrong with this flashlight? It's not the flashlight. Something's blocking the light. I'm scared. Let's find another way. I really didn't want to go on, but I understood it was our only chance. We've been wandering in this maze for a long time. I don't think finding a new path will be easy, let alone that it might be the only exit. Although, why did I even assume one exists here? I guess I just wanted to believe it. And after all, I didn't start all this and come this far for nothing. I'm with Iron, though you're right too. That's the only way for us. I looked back. The light from the last lamps we had seen in this passage was far behind. Only a faint gleam reached us, tracing our hesitant silhouettes. Yet we couldn't just stand still. We had to move somewhere, either back or forward. We will keep going. I set Ginjero on my shoulder and he clung to me tightly. Then I reached my hand out to Iron. Don't let go, no matter what happens. With those words, I stepped out into the darkness. The last scraps of light slid off my shoulder and I disappeared into blackness. Iron followed me. I shifted left and found the wall. Trying to keep to it, I walked on, but soon stopped. I thought if we moved a bit slower, Iron wouldn't be so scared. Iron was gripping my wrist so hard that my arm began to ache. Looks like my plan backfired. Why did you stop? Did you feel her? Feel who? Never mind. She shook her head so fast that I heard her hair rustle. What were you talking about? The girl stayed silent. She clearly didn't want to talk. This was undoubtedly important, but I shouldn't press her, especially in such terrifying darkness. It would only make her more nervous. I moved on. Clinging to the walls with my fingers, I carefully led my sister. Even so, the mention of that mysterious stranger made me uneasy. Whoever it was probably an enemy. I'd better get ready to fight. While walking, I felt for the flashlight and shifted it closer. In case of trouble, it would be easier and faster to draw it. I didn't know how long we'd been walking, probably just a few minutes at most. Sorry, one second. Sorry, I'm back now. I keep trying to fix my model to where it's like not... I don't know, it kind of looks like it might be like... It might just be me. I might just be imagining things. It just kind of looks like it's like tilted. Or like maybe like while I'm reading it tilts, I don't know, it's bothering me. Okay, good. I'm just worried, I don't know. See, like... Hold on, let me mute the game for a second. Sorry, it bothers me when I can't hear myself talk. So, like... I keep my OBS preview up out of the corner of my eye. It's on my other screen so that I can like see the performance of what's happening on screen as I'm streaming. I think most everyone does that. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, And like what I could see was that like whenever I was reading or something, it looked kind of like my neck was tilted, and it was starting to bother me because my neck isn't tilted. I'm literally sitting in my chair like upright just fine, and I was like, why is that happening? And I wondered if it was because I was leaning to my pop filter to talk, which I was, and then I was adjusting the pop filter, which is what I kept doing throughout the stream. And I adjusted it to the point where like it's a little bit closer to the mic now, but it kept happening still. So I was like, okay, so it's still happening. So I clearly didn't fix the problem. I don't know. Maybe it might have just been a me thing. I think sometimes I focus too much on what my model's doing because I'm worried that like it doesn't look, how do I put this? Like it doesn't look professional, and that bothers me because, you know, I'm the representation of my partner's work. So like if it doesn't look like I'm doing it justice, it feels like I'm also like doing her an injustice too. But yes. Okay, so glad that's not happening. Let me turn the game back on. Okay. But here, in this dark stretch cut off from the world, time flowed differently. It felt like hours had passed before I saw light. There were only tiny glowing dots, but even they brought hope. I pointed ahead, forgetting no one could see it. I see light. Let's hurry. That does not look like it's not haunted. That is a ritual room. There are candles everywhere. There is a pentagram. That does not look good. The specks of light grew as we approached, just as our hope grew that our nightmare would soon end. But when we came close enough to recognize its source, the light gave off a chill. Shivers ran down my spine. I see. Twisted, sharp, crooked iron rods stuck out of the walls and were wrapped around candles that lit the space ahead. What the fuck is this? The scene was eerie. When I saw pentagrams drawn on the floor, I instantly understood. The light was only there so we could see the monster hiding in the dark. Ah! Sharp claws sank into the girl's leg, piercing flesh. What the hell is going on? The corridor floor was literally covered in pentagrams from which black, gnarled hands emerged. We'd have to work hard not to let them grab us. Jinjero darted to Iron and started prying her hands off her ankle. Can you help her? You're no help at all. Keep watch so they don't attack us. The little fox clearly lacked the strength to free her, so I remembered the shard. I slashed at the hands with all my might, but one still held Iron. Oh, is that our mother? A woman's figure drifted out from the darkness, wreathed in thick smoke, yellow-eyed with syringes protruding from her back, chest, and shoulders. She lunged at Iron with a piercing scream, and I had no time to target that last hand. I had only one option. Ow! I yanked her hand free so sharply that the black claws left deep scratches. Blood flowed, trickling straight into the center of the pentagram. The woman stared at Iron for several seconds, then bent down and, with a revolting sound, began licking the blood from the stone. I watched in horror and disgust, having no idea what to do next. The woman stopped her feast and froze. She stared at the floor for a few seconds, then began smashing her head against it, letting out an inhuman scream. More! More! I want more blood! Need more! Suddenly she raised her head and said sweetly, Come now, be a good girl. We just need a few more drops. You'll behave, won't you, Iron? I grabbed my sister's hand and pulled her close. Back off her, monster! Monster? Is that how Mommy taught you to speak to your elders, brat? So that is our mom. The woman hurled a knife. It flew past my head by mere inches. The blade buried deep in the wall, and the woman vanished into smoke, then reappeared behind me a second later, striking. She missed. Jinjero saved me, leaping onto her face and blocking her sight. She vanished into the murky haze again, and Jinjero tumbled to the stone floor. Thanks! Stay focused! Soon the witch returned, still trying for a killing blow, luckily without success so far. Each time the creature moved the same way, and I quickly realized she could use the smoke only when her hand held no knife. Knowing this calmed me a bit, I began plotting how to beat her. I had to catch the moment she was solid. Then something seized my leg hard. Those cursed black hands! I had forgotten about them. Before the woman could pounce, Jinjero sank his fangs into the black wrist and I fell to the floor. The knife had scraped along my sword, just drawn in time, before the woman retreated again. I hadn't wanted her to know about the sword. It was meant as my trump card, but now there was no point hiding it. I parried her furious strikes one after another. She was clearly tiring. Her moves in the smoke grew slower. I noticed the hands grabbed her ankle before she could turn into black mist. Then I understood how to win. First, lull her guard. After the next blow, I faked exhaustion, parried weakly, then lowered my sword. I didn't even try to block the next thrust, just leapt aside and started panting as if worn out. The creature's already vicious grin spread into a feral snarl, proof I was on the right track. I took a deep breath and bolted. The witch replied with a knife throw, weak and off target, showing her fatigue. Now I only had to wait for her to become smoke. It would take about 3 seconds. I would need 2 to kill her. I'll strangle you with my bare hands, brat! I kept playing along so she'd slip. She wasn't trying to kill me outright. She wanted some fun before getting back to Iron. At last, she made a mistake. I positioned myself with a pentagram of hands behind me. When the woman vanished, I instantly jumped aside. Before she realized she had materialized right into those grasping black claws, they seized her and I pressed the button. A bright blade burst forth from the flashlight, and I sliced through her throat, severing her head. The witch's body crashed to the floor. While the black hands tore it apart, the head, besides Iron's drops of blood, greedily licked them up, eyes rolling in bliss, mouth frozen in a rapturous smile. Wow, okay, yeah, that's crazy. I think that was our mom. It was clearly our mom. And the syringe gives me the impression that maybe our mom had to be sedated a few times. Like, maybe she was under some kind of mental health crisis, or maybe even she might have had, like, bouts of insanity or dementia or something. Soon, nothing remained of the body but black sand. I shone the light on it and saw the ticket from the amusement park, which I picked up after brief hesitation. The pentagrams vanished, the hands dissolved as if they'd never been. Iron's leg wound healed too. Apparently all pain she'd suffered died with the creature. Just like in the wolf room, I'd saved her this time, done what I had to. Running to Iron, I still checked her leg to make sure it was truly fine. Iron smiled at me. The leg is healed. I offered her my hand. Come, I'll lead you out of the labyrinth. But then you'll remember everything. You can't stop me now. Accept it, Iron. Alex has to remember. I think whatever it is, Sir Kilgore will pull through. A light was burning far ahead, and the four of us ran toward it, hoping it would lead us out of this cursed place. At the corridor's end stood a strange machine, but I knew exactly what it was. I'd seen it before, on that very day. I slid the ticket inside. The mechanism whirred to life and swallowed it. After a while, it spat the ticket back out, and the surroundings changed. The ceiling became clear blue sky, and crowds of happy people walked around me. Oh God. I felt a warm hand on my shoulder. Look, what a beautiful carousel. The girl pointed at a huge butterfly ride with little cars. Its wings were draped with colors that looked even brighter and happier in the sunlight. I nodded. Yes, I want to ride. Oh, I almost forgot. Someone else wants to ride the butterfly too. Guess who? I shook my head. Iron took something orange and blue out of her purse. Gingero! Exactly. I sewed him in craft class. I hope he at least turned out a little nice. I hurried to grab the toy and spun it in front of my eyes in delight. Wow, he's so cool. I imagined Gingero just like this. Thanks, sis. Iron smiled. Let's ride this carousel, shall we, Mom? Just a second. I need to... Mom took out a small vial of red liquid from her purse and quickly drank it, then put it back. She closed her eyes, and a blissful smile appeared on her face. That's better. It's so good that you helped Mommy out, sweetie. Iron smiled again. Of course. I wonder if that was blood. Maybe she was... Huh. Okay, so maybe they were doing some kind of blood drawing thing from the sister, because she mentioned something about blood in the fight, too. We got on the carousel and it spun us around. Suddenly, Iron felt sick. When it stopped, she fell to the ground and scraped her knee, drawing blood. Mom immediately rushed to help. Oddly licking her lips, she examined the wound and wrapped it with a bandage. My head spun hard for a moment, but I'm okay. Maybe we should go home. No, it's little brother's birthday today. We have to have fun. We spent the whole day in the park and had lots of fun, so I thought Sis would definitely fall asleep tonight. Everything at home was as usual. We found Dad watching TV, and pizza was waiting in the kitchen. He ordered it when Mom didn't have time to cook. After dinner, Iron went to do her homework, and I went to play with Gingero. I got so carried away that I didn't notice when I fell asleep. Mom was probably busy with something, and Dad had likely gone out with friends again. Sometime later, I woke up thirsty. I headed to the kitchen, but stopped at the stairs when I saw a light in my sister's room. I decided to peek in. You're still awake? The witch shows up every time I close my eyes. And the pills don't scare the wicked witch away anymore? I don't know. I can't remember how many I've taken. Sleep won't come, and there are fewer and fewer left. Oh no! Oh! Maybe you should take them all at once to chase the witch away. Iron ruffled my hair. Maybe you're right. Will you look after Wolfie for me? I might sleep a long time. Sure. Sleep as much as you need, sis. Just get a good rest. Iron smiled. Okay. In the morning, Dad's shout woke me up, and frightened, I ran into my sister's room. I always did that when Mom and Dad fought. I felt safer with Iron. So this time, too, I climbed onto her bed. She was pale and motionless. She must have become very tired. I carefully settled down beside her, afraid to wake her. Something shattered downstairs, and the yelling grew louder, which scared me, and I grabbed my sister's hand. She was cold, and I became even more frightened. I started shaking Iron. All I needed right now was her voice to calm me. She would tell me that Mom and Dad were arguing over nothing again, but she didn't open her eyes and wasn't even breathing. I started crying and tried with all my might to wake her. Out of fear and desperation, I pushed Iron so hard she nearly fell off the bed. I got even more scared when she kept on sleeping. She must just be a heavy sleeper, so I covered her with a blanket. I lay there for a few minutes, and Mom and Dad kept arguing. Mustering my courage, I decided to go downstairs to make peace between them. Usually Iron did that, but it looked like it was my turn. So that's what the liquid in those flasks was. Do you even understand what you've been doing all this time, you lunatic? I didn't know it would end like this. I only took a little. You drove your daughter to this. What have you done, Emily? Because of you, Daddy, Sis said she'd sleep for a long time. Alex, go back to your room. Be a sweetie. Don't you dare speak to my son after what you've done, you monster. I really tried. I tried to overcome it, but the pills, the injections, nothing helps anymore. I was going insane. I tried to kill myself. Renfield syndrome is incurable. It would have been better if you died, you damn junkie, instead of her. He grabbed a knife and stabbed Mom with it. Jesus Christ! But Mom defended herself. Then Dad got very angry. He dragged Mom into the by the hair into the garage and doused her with something. What the fuck? Then he pulled a box of matches from his pocket, struck one along the side, and threw it at Mom. The flames flared up instantly, lighting the walls with a bright glow. Mom became brighter. She looked like a Guy Fawkes effigy we burned at last year's parade. Mom was shouting something, but I couldn't make it out. It seemed like she was calling my name. There was so much fire, and it went very high. Soon our whole house looked like a Guy Fawkes effigy. I cried because I was scared, and the bright light hurt my eyes. Such a huge and bright bonfire, almost like the one we had at the picnic. I wonder if Wolfie likes picnics. I'll definitely ask Sis when she wakes up. What the fuck? Jesus Christ! Oh! Good Lord! My phone beeped in my pocket. A new message had arrived. Dear Alex, today for the first time in a long while, Molly recognized me. She's slowly regaining consciousness and soon my girl will be completely recovered. I owe this success to you and Gingero. Look what I gave to my sweet Molly. On the phone screen, I saw a smiling girl with a plush unicorn. The girl looked sleepy, as if she'd been woken up in the middle of the night and still hadn't fully awakened, yet her smile sparkled with joy and kindness. I smiled too. It seemed the doctor knitted her daughter a toy, thereby strengthening the anchor. After that, she was able to enter her dream and pull the girl out of the dark corners of her consciousness. I typed a message. Great news, Doctor. Give her my regards. Dr. Silk started typing something. Are you doing okay? Yeah, my parents did shower me with questions about our session, though, but I didn't scare them with the details. It was enough for Dad to hear the price to go gray. But I didn't charge you. I'm just kidding. I'm perfectly fine, Doctor. That's good, because I was worried. The connection cut off so suddenly. I don't know. It seems nothing has changed. I'm the same as always. That's great. I've got to go. My daughter is calling. Take care, Alex. Dr. Silk went offline, and I put the phone back in my pocket. Today is such a nice, good, warm day. A cool breeze is blowing slightly. I breathed in the fresh Sunday morning air and deeply and looked at the sky. Beautiful. Who was that? Dr. Silk. Look at the unicorn she gave her daughter. Very cute. But as for Gingero... Of course, Gingero is much better. After all, you made him. What? I ruffled Iron's hair. Okay, let's go home. We've stayed too long. You're right, Iron. I'm so glad we're together again. Same here, brother. Are you really having as much fun with me as with Ginjero? Of course. If only I had a plush toy now. Which one? Your plush virgin. Iron laughed. Why don't you sew it yourself? Even if you don't succeed the first time, I won't laugh too loudly. Alright, I'll give it a try. Iron leaned her head against my shoulder. You know, this way you could take me anywhere. Isn't that great? Great, sis. Great. Wow! That was remarkably fucked up. That was crazy. What the fuck was that? Wow. Just wow. Okay, first of all, remarkably well done. Short and very, very, very haunting. I liked that a lot. That was a really cool story. Really horrifying at the end, but still really cool. I wonder what is I wanted to look up what she had, because I've never heard of Renfield syndrome. I wonder what that is. I'm gonna look it up. Oh! Oh, that... Oh. Oh, wow. Okay, so Renfield syndrome is the name for vampirism in clinical terms. So she had a vampiric psychological I guess it's not really a disorder. It's more like a I don't really think you can call it an illness either. I guess it is a it's like a mental illness thing, according to the internet here. Just looking it up. Wow, I never knew about this. Huh. So it looks like she had Renfield syndrome and she was drinking her daughter's blood, and the father lit her on fire because she led to her daughter's suicide. I feel like that was a very extreme reaction, especially if it's a legitimate mental illness. Like, God, man, what the fuck? I feel kind of bad for everyone in this story. Maybe less for the father. It is interesting, though. It looked like, you can influence which parent, was doing what. So I wonder if there's an ending of that where the father is the one who gets lit on fire and vice versa. Like, I wonder how that changes. Either way, that was crazy. And wow, just loved the, I really liked the feeling of it. The labyrinth was really, really nice, as a allegory to, just kind of like how your brain does different paths to get to information that you may not want to see. And I also thought that the way that they use like the wolf to act as like a protector and the sister as well was really clever. I like stories like this just because I have a background in psychology, and this kind of thing is like what I like to read and write about. I kind of figured from the start of it that it might have something to do with repression, just because it started in a therapist's office, but I did not expect that. So that's crazy. But that was Scarlet Wolf. You can check it out if you want to see it for yourself. It is on... Let me see. It's on the PlayStation Network for $9.99. and you can. It's a very short, scary little story. Atmosphere is very nice. Might play differently if you don't have a dog boy reading it to you. Who knows? But yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you, Keymailer, so much for giving me the opportunity to play this game. And it's really been a long time since I read something that was like that short, but also enticing. Like, short stories aren't bad. I want to just put that out. Like, short stories are never bad. But, like, there's some stories where, like, you read it and it's kind of short and you kind of wish there was more, just because, like, you know, maybe they just started getting into something interesting and, like, you wish you saw it fleshed out more. But, like, the author didn't go further with it. So, you know, that happens sometimes. With this one, I feel like it was very short, it was very to the point, and I feel like it got in, got out, you know, did what it needed to do, did not overstay its welcome, and was just a nice, creepy little story. So, there you go. All right. I said I was going to do some more demos, but honestly, I think I'm good for today. So we can do that another day, I think. I wrote down all the demos because I went through and I updated them. And the next time we do demo day, we will just go off this list, I think. It's a nice little list. Thank you for hitting my tit. Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming to stream. I hope that you enjoyed this story. If you give it a look, I hope that you enjoy playing it yourself. We'll be back tomorrow for more Pragmata, which I'm excited for because I really enjoyed Pragmata last week. And I hope that you're looking forward to it too. So, take care, subbies. Have a good rest of your day, and we will see each other tomorrow. Bye-bye.